Thank you so much, Madam President. And I really do want to thank you, Major General Naumann. He made sure that I got the pronunciation right, and he said, it's like, now, man. And certainly your life has dictated that rapid response. And certainly I do appreciate the fact that you were able to sit through some of our proceedings and appreciate the fact that we know that as we do these deliberations, we also need to keep government working and going, and so that's what you witnessed today. So I thank you for your patience. Also, I met the mayor, Colonel Jason Adler, who's in charge of all the administration. Thank you so much as well for being here. And I also want to recognize, what you do, not only for us, but for the cadets and the entire community here. Also with you, I understand, is Command Sergeant Major Dan Burns, the Garrison Command Sergeant Major, and Captain Grant Granger, the aide-de-camp, and Julie, see you back there, thank you. Julie Halpin, who's the Public and Congressional Affairs. And I want to thank Lieutenant Colonel Jason Helsling for the invocation earlier. It was a beautiful invocation. Thank you so much for starting us off that way. And of course, to all the cadets with us today, representing the U.S. Army's 10th Mountain Division here in the Senate chamber, as we celebrate, yes, it's Fort Drum Day for us, and we wouldn't miss it for the world. So thank you so much for being here. I also want to express my gratitude to Senator Jessica Scarcella-Spanton, who's the chair of the Committee on Veterans, Homeland Security, and Military Affairs, for steadfastly leading our effort to support our veterans in New York and their military families. And I also want to thank the sponsor of today's resolution, Senator Mark Walshik, who represents Fort Drum. And of course, as we thank all of you from Fort Drum, thank you also, Senator, for your service, and all the members in this chamber who have answered the call to serve, including the minority leader, Senator Ort, who you'll be hearing from, as well as their families. I want to, thank each and every one of you for the sacrifice that you make for our country. And I just wanted to give a special shout out because one of my staffers, Emily Brueggemann's husband, Jason Shuey, was deployed from Fort Drum. He's deployed overseas. So again, it hits home for us, and our hearts and prayers go with all of you here or wherever you go on behalf of us. I'm the daughter of a World War II veteran who earned a Purple Heart Bronze Star, and the sister of a Vietnam War veteran. And so, I certainly am very serious about the well-being of our military and what you do for us. And every year, this event allows us to commemorate not only the significance of Fort Drum to New York State, but the exceptional sacrifice made by the service members and families who call it home. Fort Drum, where soldiers have trained for decades to defend us and our allies in times of war and crisis, has stood in our state for over a century. It's also been the home of the 10th Mountain Division, one of our nation's most distinguished divisions in the United States Army for over 40 years. The site in Jefferson County, where it now sits from 1908, the location of Camp Pine, a vital military training site where many units who fought in World War II and the Korean War trained. Spanning over 107,000 acres near Lake Ontario, Fort Drum has continued to play an important role in our nation's national security. There, each year, over 80,000 soldiers are mobilized, trained, and kept ready to meet national security requirements. Fort Drum is not only a center of our country's military operations, but also a driving force behind northern New York's economy, and certainly you've spoken of that, and we hear you, but I'll get to that later. As the area's largest employer, it provides critical economic stability and supports the daily lives of thousands of active duty service members and their families. To New Yorkers, Fort Drum is an enduring symbol of courage, and the soldiers stationed there carry and continue a tradition of patriotism and service. These are the men and women who run towards danger. Those stationed at Fort Drum represent the very best of our nation, ordinary Americans who answer the extraordinary call to serve, choosing a life of sacrifice and commitment. And it is that commitment that allows the rest of us to live in a democracy and to live a life of freedom and security. We've all seen the headlines, and it's clear that challenging days are ahead in our country. And the cadets here today will be among those called to rise to that moment of strength and resolve. So, as Majority Leader of the New York State Senate, I want to convey how immensely proud New York is to have you belong in our great state. And we'll continue to stand with you and to advocate for you and to demonstrate our gratitude not only in words and deeds. I must say that your presentation of the things that you need us to do was important. Usually people come and we all exchange platitudes, but you had a list, between Operation Janus and making sure your health care is sustained, the dining, supporting the agriculture, DMV, the integration into the community, the airport. We can help you in all those ways. And so I want you to know that I do appreciate your not only being here and calling this Albany Day to our Fort Drum Day, but giving us the list of things that we need to do to make sure that we continue to be good neighbors for you, just as you have been for us and for our great state and our country for all these years. So thank you so much for your presence here, and thank you, Madam President, for this time.